Amen.
There is mercy for my misery. There is mercy for your misery. I imagine that everyone in this room has had an experience with misery. I believe that we've all had our bouts with it on some level or another. Some of us have had our moments of misery, and some of us have been dealing with it for a lifetime. But in either case, at some point, we've all been victimized by it. And there is one thing concerning misery that we all know to be true, which is that she never runs alone.
Okay.
You see, misery loves company. And the company that she keeps is nothing nice. For wherever you find misery, there you will also find her running buddies. Y'all know them. Very familiar with them. Running buddy like anguish, anxiety, torment, pain, grief, heartache, heartbreak, despair, despondency, dejection, gloom, sadness, and sorrow. Those are the running buddies of misery. Y'all know them. They are nothing nice, and they are not our friends. And they show up to make your life a living hell. And I would even go as far as to say that I bet there's somebody in here that is going through a miserable situation right now. And things seem so dark that you can't even begin to see your way of escaping it. Am I in the house this morning? Right. Misery is something that causes us extreme suffering or extreme unhappiness. And many times it is brought on by some type of trial or tribulation. And it often comes to us in many forms and in many fashions. Sometimes misery is caused by a circumstance or a specific thing or place that causes you anguish or discomfort. And I would say that it is a state of great sorrow and emotional distress. If you ever had to do battle with misery, look at your neighbor and tell them, I've been there. I've been there. Have you ever found yourself tossing and turning in bed all night long because of problems and pressures that had your mind spinning 1,000,000 miles per hour, and although your body was saying that it's time to rest, your mind refused to cooperate? Tell somebody and tell them I've been there. Have you ever had those days when it seemed like if it wasn't one thing going wrong, then it was always another? And it had you believing by the looks of things that when it rains, it pours. But your umbrella just wasn't big enough to keep you dry. I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know about you, but I've been there and I found out that sometimes even the cause of your greatest joy can become the cause of your greatest sorrow. Have you ever been there? The last you have. I remember the day that we moved into this building, this sanctuary, this church. It brought me great joy. After all the prayers and hard work and money that we raised and spent to get here, it paid off. I was happy and very grateful for the accomplishments that we had made. But a few days and a few bills later, I've seen that it can become the cause of my greatest distress. If the joy and gratitude and giving of the congregation decides whatever reason to go south, then it is very possible that my stress will start to head north. Because the thought of losing this place after fighting so hard to get here is enough to make any person very miserable. Do you hear what I'm saying? All I'm trying to say is that we've all been there. That breakup that crushed your spirit from letting go. We've been there. The combination of being broke down, and broken hearted. We've been there. The loss of a loved one that was too hard to deal with. We've been there. That mad trauma on your job. We've been there. The trying times of a troubled marriage. We've been there. And oftentimes our misery is not only brought on by somebody else, but it is also brought on by the choices that we made. But how many of you know that misery can be brought on by somebody else? I asked this Wednesday night, have you ever just had those people that the minute they come into your presence, they make you miserable? Have you ever been there? No lie, we in church. You know, there are some folk that just work your last nerve, and their very presence just brings about misery in your life. We've all been there. We've all had to deal with it. There are a lot of kids right now that are miserable at school because they're being bullied by somebody else, which is why a lot of them snap and go off the deep end and try to kill everyone in sight. Our neighborhoods are miserable due to drugs and gang violence and the mentality of many of our youth, which is there is murder on top of murder every day in these streets. And I can stand here and go all day and go right down the list and we all can relate to it because we've all been there. But I stop out there to tell somebody that God has mercy for your misery. God has the antidote for your anxiety. God has the prescription for your pain. I came here to let you know that whatever it is that ails you, the mercy of God has your misery in its sight and is ready to bring the pain against whatever it is that's causing you pain. The mercy of God is ready to attack and deliver you from the very thing that's had you bound. I'm here to tell somebody that God's mercy targets your misery. Your mercy is fired at the cause of your anguish. It will not miss its target. Do you hear what I'm saying? This reminds me of something I saw on the news the other day. Al-Qaeda has started to raise up again, and the Taliban over in Afghanistan. And they killed some doctors and nurses. They blew up some people at the base. And so now that our military has been moving out, they've been trying to raise back up. The Taliban is the enemy. But this is what hit me, Wings. I was looking at the news where Obama decided to send the drones over into enemy territory. See, we already done pulled the soldiers out, so it's not like he can just call them to get on the bus and come back over there. But what he has is what they call these drones. And these drones are pretty much like, they put me in a mind of model airplanes, just high technology that runs them. But what the drone will do, they send out the drones, and the drones will fly over until it finds the enemy, until it finds their target. And once it finds the target, it launches its attack. It targeted, the drones targeted the Taliban. Y'all don't get what I'm saying, do you? In the same way that Obama sent the drones to target the Taliban, which was causing misery over in Afghanistan, God will send out his drones of mercy to target the very thing that's been troubling you. God will send out drones to target your anguish, to target your torment, to target your sadness and your sorrow. Do you hear what I'm saying? Come on. I'm so glad to know that when mercy is fired at the cause of your anguish, it will not miss its target. Touch somebody and tell them that God's mercy targets your misery. You see, when we speak of God's mercy, we are talking about something that we need most. That's right. What man needs most is mercy. Because mercy is what suits our case. Whatever the case may be, mercy suits it. You see, some of us have a case of the can't help it. Y'all know what I mean? When you can't help yourself from doing the things that you know you shouldn't be doing, or saying the things that you know you shouldn't be saying, or going to places that you know you shouldn't be going. God's mercy suits your case. And for those who have to deal with things that are this morning that God's mercy suits your case.